We had in this week's Parsha the episode of Yaakov Avinu coming and deceiving his father, coming and taking the brachos that were meant for Esav and putting on a show, putting on Esav's clothing, trying to deceive his father to get these brachos. But he didn't act alone. There was another partner, really, whose idea this whole thing was, who we always say, oh, Yaakov deceived his father. Really, it was Rivka. It was Rivka who had this whole plan to come. And the pasuk says, "Vatikach Rivka es bigdei Esav b'no hagadol hachamudos." She took, Esav's clothes, Asheri Tobabayis, that she had. Vatilvashes Yaakov b'no hakatan, and she took the clothes of Esav and she put them on Yaakov and told him to wear them, told him to trick his father, told him to pretend to be Esav in order to get these brachas. So, what was the nekuda that Rivka was trying to get at by Yaakov putting on the clothes? So on a very pashut level, she was telling him, listen, if you're gonna take the brachas, you're gonna pretend to be Esav, you gotta play the part. Esav doesn't dress like you dress. Esav, wears his biker jacket and his earrings and tattoos. You gotta dress the part of Esav. You can't go in there, in your Yaakov clothing. But I saw beautifully brought down in the Sefer Chamudei Daniel that what Rivka was trying to get at was much deeper than just trying to, pretend to be Esav on a very physical level. He writes here, Shegam kein himlitza lo la'amitz as darko shel Esav be'armimius. She wanted him to become like Esav, not just to wear the clothes, not just to talk the talk, but to walk the walk, to really try and be like Esav. V'ramos b'kedei lemale es goralo ba'avodas Hashem. That Esav had a certain way about him. Esav had a certain tricky nature about him. And what Rivka wanted Yaakov to do was not just to put on the clothes and be Yaakov, but to put on the clothes and be Esav. You got to get into character. You can't break the type of person that Esav is just by wearing. You got to really get into the character of being Esav. And the Baal Shem Tov writes similarly, that what's the nekuda of doing this? What's the nekuda of trying to be like Esav? So the Baal Shem Tov writes on this Parsha, Shekol Adam Tzarich Lahasis Eitzos Benafsho Lahafoch Laasos Midos Tovos Mikol Hataivos Achitzonios Vehamidos Haros Shel Harishoim HaYetzer Hara. That there's two ways of dealing with the Yetzer Hara. There's the way of pushing it to the side and just trying to grab onto your Yetzer Tov. But there's another way, and that way is to take your Yetzer Hara, to take the midos rose, to take the taivas, to take all the desires that you have for the bad, and to elevate them and use them in the service of Avodas Hashem. V'lokachas mehem derech la'avodas habore be'oso cheshek u'be'oso hataiva b'yeser se'es. So what did Rivka want? Rivka wanted Yaakov to learn from Esav. That the same way Esav had this ramaus about him, the same way Esav had this trickery, this, deceitful nature like him, she wanted to take from his midos and use them for the good. Take from the bad and elevate them for his avodas hakodesh. And this is what he brings down as the Gemara in Kedushin, im paga b'cha menuvel zeh. The Gemara in Kedushin says that you have this menuvel, this Yetzer Hara, he comes and he meets up with you. So what's the Eitzah? Right? Take him to the Beis Medrash with you. So it's very, very strange. The Ben Yehoyada asks on that Gemara, he says, Moshchei lebeis hamedrash, it should say, if you're on your way on the derech, and the Yetzer Hara comes to you, so run as fast as you can, Boreach mina Yetzer Hara, go run and escape to the Beis Medrash. But what does the Ben Yehoyada say? What does the Gemara say? To take the Yetzer Hara with you to the Beis HaMedrash. So listen to this Ben Yehoyada. He wants to ruin you. He wants to cause you to sin, and he tries so hard. So don't throw him away. Take that Yetzer Hara who tries so hard to get you, who puts in so much effort, never wastes a second. So take that musar, take that mahalach, bring it to the Beis HaMedrash and use it in your learning. Use it for the good. Very interestingly, we see Yaakov after this whole episode, he goes to Lavan's house, right? And he's there for a long time. And we come back and Yaakov says the famous words, Im Lavan Garti, right? So what does Rashi say, Garti? So Taryag mitzvot shamarti, that I did the Taryag mitzvahs, but he adds in a word, V'lo lamadati ma'asov haroim. I didn't learn from Lavan's bad ways. So the Chavetz Chaim asks a Pasha Kasha. If Lavan's a big Rasha, and he's worshipping Avodas Hara, and he's doing all these horrible things, and you're coming to testify that you kept the Taryag mitzvahs, you need to now teach me that you didn't learn from Lavan's ways? You were a grace tzaddik. You put on your tefillin, you did the tzitzis, you learned, you did everything. Oh, and by the way, also, I didn't learn from Lavan. Shkoyach, what's the big chiddush? So the Chavetz Chaim says so beautifully. He says the vort isn't that Yaakov is praising himself. That, lo lamadati mima'asim haroim. Listen to the words of the Chavetz Chaim. Mikol makom, his onein al atzmo, shelo his ametz kol kach ba'asiyas ma'asav hatovim, kemo shelavan haya mislahev ba'asiyas ma'asav haroim. Yaakov was saying, I kept the mitzvahs. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't learn from Lavan. I saw Lavan and the hislavos that he put into Averis. The incredible passion Lavan had for Avodas Hara. And yes, I davened, but I didn't daven like Lavan davened. Lavan bowed down to his Yetzer Hara, to the Avodas Hara, with such a greater cheshek than I davened to the Ribono Shalom. Lavan ran to do Averis so much quicker and with so much more passion than I ran to go do mitzvahs. So he said, I kept the mitzvahs, but you know what? I missed the opportunity to learn from Lavan. That Lavan could have been the best Rebbe Yaakov had to show you the power that someone can have to go run and do Avodas Hara, to go run and do Averis. We can learn so much from that. This smak brings down an incredible musar about those who talk in shul. So there's halachas against those who talk in shul. If I were to write about people talking in shul, I would say there's hefsik, it's a mevazet tefillah. It does all these things. Listen to what the smak writes. He says, "Oy lahem lahamidabrim dvarim betelim." How horrible it is that people who speak about crazy things in shul, kalis rosh v'beis hakneses. Why? It's a kal v'chomer. Kal v'chomer ba'atzmenu me'ovdei elilim. Go step into a church. Asher omdim ki ilmim im beis cherpusam kol shekein anu ha omdim lifnei melech malchi amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Says the smak. You know why we shouldn't talk during davening? Because we should learn from the Christians. You walk into the church, it's quiet. They're all there sitting nicely in their rows. And here we walk into shul and everyone's elbowing each other, at the kiddush and yelling and talking. And they bring in the newspaper and everyone's reading. It's not good. But not because, you got to open up a Shulchan Aruch. Go learn from the Goyim. Go learn how they service their Avodas Hara. We should learn from them to try and worship HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So he brings down also from the Gemara in Avodas Hara. The Gemara in Avodas Hara says that La'asid Lavo, the Ovdei Kolchavim are going to come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and they're going to say, Ribono Shalom, you know what we did? Bama asaktem. They're going to say, Harbe shvakim takninu. We built many, markets. Harbe mirchatzos asinu. Harbe kesef v'zav hirbinu. We spent our whole lives getting all this money. V'kulam lo asinu ela b'shvil Yisrael kadei she'yisasku b'Torah. We did it just for the Jews, that they should learn Torah well. So the Ribono Shalom looks at them and he says, Shotim Shaba'olam, you guys are crazy, you guys are idiots. You think I don't know why you did it? You think I don't know that you didn't do it for these beautiful, wonderful, reasons? Says the Esav Sofer in his drashas. He says, what were they thinking? They thought they were going to pull a fast one on the Ribono Shalom? They thought they were going to tell the Ribono Shalom, by the way, the whole reason we lived like, menuvel for our entire life was just for the Jews. We did it all for Lomdei Torah, So says the Esav Sofer, what was their intent? Mipnei she'al yedei hacharitzus v'hashakdonus shelahem la'asof mamon ulitzvor osher rav. Says the Goyim, that what were they telling the Ribono Shalom? They should have learned from us. They should have seen us and the dedication we had to all of our znus, to all of our money, to all of our worldly pursuits, and they should have looked at us and say, we could learn Torah like that. We could do mitzvahs like that. We could learn from the Goyim. The Goyim weren't saying, we had in mind that there would be a wonderful Beis Medrash. They should have taken from the Goyim, taken from those who were involved in such horrible worldly pursuits, znus and gilei arayos and all these horrible things. And the Jews should have said, I could learn Torah like they run to the Beis Zonos. I could run to the Beis Medrash like they run to the bar. That's what we're supposed to learn from. And that's what we do every time we make a siyum. What do we say? We don't just put them down for fun. We don't just say, She'anu mashkimim v'hein mashkimim. Anu mashkimim l'beis ha-medrash v'hein mashkimim. We don't just say, we're amazing and they're horrible. What's the point of the Hadran? The Hadran is saying we learned from the world. The Ribbono Shel Olam put into the world a koach of running. The Ribbono Shel Olam put into the world a koach of being engrossed in something. So you could be engrossed in nonsense. You could be engrossed in hevel havalim. Or you can take that same power, you can learn from the way that they run to nonsense, and we could use it for Kedusha. We could use it for Kedusha. Soloveitchik has an incredible vart. He writes in the Gemara in Yuma, Shegedola tshuva me'ava, shemahapeches es hazdonos lizchuyos. That there's two different types of tshuva. There's tshuva me'ava and there's tshuva me'ira. That when we do tshuva me'ava, it takes all of our past sins and it turns them into wonderful, gewaldige mitzvahs. But there's also tshuva me'ira, and tshuva me'ira rak mishanes hazdonos l'shkagos. It takes our past averos and it makes them like a little bit less bad. So Soloveitchik explains beautifully. He says, what does it mean tshuva me'ava? That shehashav me'ira, let's say you return just out of fear. So the only thing is, that means you're running away from your Yetzer Hara. You're running away from all the sins that you do. So shkoyach, if you're going to run away from the sins, if you're going to run away from the Yetzer Hara, so the best that it possibly could become is like a shogeg. Tshuva me'ava, what does that mean? It means that I take my Yetzer Hara, I take my zdonos, I take all my bad things, and I use them to elevate myself. I use them and say, I'm taking my Yetzer Hara, I'm taking my past, I'm taking all my sins, and I'm elevating myself through it. Eino mochekes es ha'averu shel ha'avar, ela matleosam, shehem garmin lo adam, sheyaseh atzam mitzvos, b'yeser ometz. I learn from my past sins. It's not that I try to forget that time that I used to run to znus. It's not that I try to forget that time that, I broke Shabbos to go make some money. I take that and I say, you know what? I remember that feeling of driving on Shabbos to go to work, and I say, I had such a hislavos to go make money. I'm going to use that, not forget it. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to take that hislavos to go into my Avodas Hashem. I'm going to take that passion that I once had for money, for women, for drinking, for food, for all those things, and I'm going to take it and use it for my Avodas Hashem. So our Yetzer Hara is not our enemy. Our Yetzer Hara is our best friend. We take that Yetzer Hara, we learn from it, we grow with it. We don't push it aside. We take it and we elevate it into our Yetzer Tov. And hopefully through that, that's what Rivka was telling Yaakov to do. Don't just wear Esav's clothes. You got to be like Esav. You got to learn from his Ma'asim Roim how we can hopefully do our Ma'asim Tovim. Not even a